Welcome to IVF This, episode 66, Two Theories and a Parable. Welcome to IVF This. I'm your host, Emily Ginn. I'm a mother to two beautiful and feral boys. I'm married to my favorite person in the world. I'm a social worker, a life coach, and an IVF warrior. I'm here to teach you how to manage your mind and emotions during your IVF journey, to break free from anxiety and regain control of your life, even in the midst of infertility. I'm going to teach you to say IVF this to how we think about, talk about, and experience infertility. Let's go. Hello, my beautiful friends. I'm so happy to talk with you all today. I'm always excited to talk with you, but today is no different. I love talking to you all. So I have some exciting things coming on the podcast. I have a few great interviews coming up, and we're going to be honoring National Infertility Awareness Week, which in the US, it's April 24th through the 30th. And of course, more coaching content on things like grief. I'm going to do a little bit more myth busting because that was a pretty popular episode before. And of course, all of the fun stuff that you come to expect from IVF This. I think I've offered it before, but if there's like a topic that you would love for me to talk about, maybe something you've been struggling with and you'd like some suggestions, if you have questions for me, anything like that, you can always email me at hello@ivfthiscoaching.com or DM me on any of my socials at ivfthiscoaching. I would love to hear from you and your ideas or suggestions on how to best serve us all, because that's what this is here for. So today I'm going to be talking about two theories that I talk a lot about in my practice. I did not develop these theories, but I refer to them a lot with my clients, and I've actually seen an increase in talking about them with my clients. And so I thought I would share it with you all today. And then there's a parable that I've really been holding onto kind of tightly personally that I think we could all benefit from. All right, let's go. The two theories that we're going to talk about today are the spoon theory and the fork theory. All cutlery today on IVF This. I don't believe the parable has any utensil-related references, so it might just stop there, but we'll have some fun while it lasts. So the spoon theory was this theory that was first published by author Christine Miserandino. I butchered that, but she wrote it in a 2003 essay of the same name. You don't have to read the whole essay, but I would encourage you to if you have an opportunity. Christine has a chronic illness, lupus, and that's what she was basing the spoon theory on. But I feel like this is applicable to anyone with a chronic illness. For our community, it could be PCOS, endometriosis, anxiety, depression. But that doesn't mean that it belongs exclusively to these groups. If the theory or theories really resonate with you, I don't want you to be deterred simply because you don't tick one of those boxes, okay? This is kind of for everybody. The spoon theory is more like a metaphor that is used to describe the amount of physical or mental energy a person has available for daily activities and tasks. So the example Christine provides in the essay is that she was out to eat with her friends and she was taking her medications. And one of her friends was watching her and then asked what it was like to have lupus. So she gathered up a handful of spoons and laid them out on the table and explained it this way. And by the way, this is not verbatim. This is the Emily summary. It's like everyone is given the same allotment of spoons every day. Let's say 12. So everyone starts their day with 12 spoons. Now, for some people, those without chronic illness, fatigue, all of the other things, right? It might take one spoon to get out of bed, take a shower, and eat breakfast. For someone who does experience a chronic illness, it might take them 4 spoons to do the same thing. And then each person goes through their day handing off spoons based on various activities, and someone with chronic illness will go through their spoons faster. The spoons are not better or worse than anyone else's spoon, but when you're dealing with a chronic issue or illness, you might go through your spoons faster. And think of going through your spoons as like hitting a wall when you absolutely cannot do anything more. Eating, let alone making dinner, is completely off the table. Maybe when you get home, or if you work from home and you finish up work, you just crawl on the couch and distract yourself with mindless TV. You might need a nap or something like that. Let me tell you what the spoon theory is not. It is not based on an inherent belief that using more spoons than other people to do the same task is a character defect because it's not. It's not a reflection of you. It's not a compare and despair sort of situation. It is a question of math. In my house, my husband is one of those one spoon per multiple task people. Dude operates like he has his own Energizer battery strapped to him. The vast majority of the time, right? Everyone has downtime. Just the vast majority of the time he acts that way. For me, there are days when I can be incredibly productive and efficient. And then there are days where I might have to take a nap. The laundry stays in the dryer for a couple of extra days. Dinner is like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And on most nights, I am in bed by 8 o'clock and asleep by 9. Now, it's interesting. In male bodies, testosterone is released at a relatively stable frequency. Now, this is a very rudimentary chemistry lesson. I am under no illusion that there are many more highly qualified people to speak on this subject, so I'm just going to give you the Emily version. This is not the case for women's bodies. We have estrogen peaks and valleys. We get testosterone peaks and valleys. And this causes significant energy highs and lows during a woman's normal cycle. This is naturally occurring, or if you're on hormone therapy. So if you're looking at your male partner and wondering why they don't seem to experience these energy ebbs and flows, this is a big reason. It's not the only reason, again, referring to chronic illness or conditions. And also there might be a hormonal imbalance as well, but this is a reason. And there's nothing wrong with that. I have this lovely client. Well, I think all my clients are delightful and lovely, but this particular one, we were talking about spoon theory a few weeks ago, and she was actually familiar with it. And we talked about when she performs. She's a singer and she performs on this live stream platform a couple of times a week. And we joked about how some of the moderators who assist her during her streams, they are also familiar with spoon theory, and they will send each other spoon emojis when they have kind of spent their last spoon. Like, yeah, I'm done now, right? And I love that so much. And that was actually one of the big reasons that I wanted to share spoon theory with you all, because I believe, just like with all of the coaching content that we talk about, when we are able to depersonalize things that we have historically personalized, we are able to show ourselves more compassion. There's more space, there's more room, there's more acceptance. Running out of spoons doesn't have to mean I am a lazy piece of crap. I mean, it certainly can. You can make it mean that. You can make many things mean a lot of different things, but it doesn't have to. It's totally optional. You could even compare my first round of IVF with my last round of IVF. It took a lot more spoons for me to get through my day during that first cycle than it did during the last one. Now, that could be because I knew what to expect, which I think accounts for a lot of the mental toll that we exert. We give up more spoons to the mental energy when we are trying to control, plan, or overthink situations. And that was 1,000,000% me during our first round of IVF. There's also something to be said about having found thought work shortly after or around the time of that IVF cycle. So having another 4 to 5 years doing that and practicing it before I started our cycle, that is a consideration, right? But for all of those reasons, man, I was burning through spoons during that first round. The last round, the one that we did in May of 2021, that was not the case. The mental load was just not the same. The stakes were the same. The risk was the same. But I was able to manage it in a much different way. Same goes for our transfer in August of 2020, which failed, and our transfer in July of 2021. The mental load and the spoon divvying was very different. And a lot of that had to do with me not making it mean anything. If I was not showing up balls to the wall every single day, that was okay. I love the phrase, do your best every day, but know that your best will look different from day to day. And that has spoons all over it. Some days you have a spoon or two to spare at bedtime. Sometimes all of the spoons are gone by 9 a.m. Neither is better. It just is. This leads us to the fork theory, which is similar to spoons, not just in the silverware terms, but this theory was first published by author Jen Rose on her Tumblr account in 2018. It's the corollary to the spoon theory. It works off the old saying, stick a fork in me, I'm done. This theory says that everyone has a fork limit. What is a fork limit? I'm so glad you asked. Throughout the day, everyone gets forks stuck in them. Big forks, little forks, teeny tiny forks. You and your partner have a spat first thing in the morning, that's a fork. You suddenly get a project laid on you at work, or you have to cover for someone, that's a fork. An unexpected bill, that's a fork. Receiving a call from your clinic or having to go to the clinic for testing or something else, that's a fork. If you're in the middle of a cycle, the havoc that some of those medications can wreak on our bodies, that's a fork. Annoyances, inconveniences, disappointments, all forks. This is directly from Jen Rose. There are a lot of different sizes of forks, and volume versus quantity means that the fork limit is not absolute. I might be able to deal with the 20 tiny little escargot fork annoyances, such as a hangnail or a slightly suboptimal outfit, but not even one, you poked my trigger on purpose because you thought it would be fun to see me melt down pitchfork. The author also talks about how relevant this is with neurodivergent folks like me and my ADHD self. I can handle the TV on, but not the TV and a conversation. There's too many competing noises. I get overstimulated and there's tons of forks. My husband, God love him, can have the TV on in the background, watching a video on his phone, having music on, and want to have a conversation. Like, I feel overstimulated just talking about this, but those aren't forks to him. Something not working the way he expects or thinks it should, that is pitchfork material, right? Everyone has different fork values and everyone has a different fork limit. The fork limit is the I'm done moment. The moment where you might blow up or shut down. Everyone has it. What you are managing in your life will often dictate your fork limit. But your fork limit, again, is not a character defect. Just like the example I gave of my husband and myself, there is no superiority, one of us being able to handle competing noises better than the other. Just like there's no superiority in the different ways the two of us manage minor annoyances. It's just different. And the forks are going to look different from day to day, and that's okay. It's how it's supposed to be. Now, one of the things I love about these two theories, and I keep saying theories, right? As you can tell, they're not based in cognitive science. They're not peer-reviewed journals, but they are ways in which we help each other make sense of broader concepts. But one of the many offshoots of this is that someone came up with the corollary of the spoon and fork theories called the dish theory, which is the idea of load-bearing supports, which is things that help in case of a lack of spoons or things that protect us from getting stuck by forks. In a very meta way, the spoon and fork theories are a load-bearing support in and of themselves because they help us understand what's happening. Other load-bearing supports are counseling, coaching, acupuncture, anything that helps you manage or protect yourself, right? Again, when we don't personalize these things, it is so much easier to access compassion for ourselves. When we have the words for things, it's easier for us to cope. And that's the power of things like this. All right. So I've fed you your two theories. I'm so sorry. The food and silverware references might stop now, but I can't make any promises. Now the parable. It's called the Parable of the Trapeze. The parable was written by Danaan Perry. I hope I'm saying that correctly. He was a nuclear physicist turned humanitarian. And this is from the book Warriors of the Heart. And I will read the parable verbatim to make sure that we don't miss anything. Sometimes I feel like my life is a series of trapeze swings. I'm either hanging out on a trapeze bar, swinging along, or for a few moments in my life, I'm hurtling across space in between trapeze bars. Most of the time, I spend my life hanging on for dear life to my trapeze bar of the moment. It carries me along to a certain steady rate of swing, and I have the feeling that I'm in control of my life. I know most of the right questions and even some of the answers. But every once in a while, as I am merrily, or even not so merrily, swinging along, I look out ahead of me in the distance, and what do I see? Another trapeze bar swinging towards me. It's empty, and I know, in that place in me that really knows, that this new trapeze bar has my name on it. It's my next step, my growth, my aliveness coming to get me. In my heart of hearts, I know that for me to grow, I must release my grip on the present, on this present well-known bar, and move to the next one. Each time it happens to me, I hope, no, I pray, that I won't have to let go of my old bar completely before I grab the new one. But in my knowing place, I know that I must totally release my grasp of the old bar, and for some moment in time, I must hurtle across space before I can grab on to the new bar. Each time I am filled with terror. It doesn't matter that in all my previous hurdles across the void of unknowing, I have always made it. I am each time afraid that I will miss, that I will be crushed on unseen rocks in the bottomless chasm between bars. I do it anyway. Perhaps this is the essence of the mystics call the faith experience. No guarantees, no nets, no insurance policies. But you do it anyway because somehow to keep hanging on to that old bar is no longer on the list of alternatives. So for an eternity that can last a microsecond or 1,000 lifetimes, I soar across the dark void of the past is gone, the future is not here yet. It's called transition. I've come to believe that this transition is the only place that real change occurs. I mean real change, not the pseudo change that only lasts until the next time my old buttons get pushed. I have noticed that in our culture, the transition zone is looked upon as a no thing, a no place between places. Sure, the old trapeze bar was real, and that new one coming towards me, I hope that's real too. But the void in between? Is that just a scary, confusing, disoriented nowhere that must be gotten through as fast as unconsciously as possible? No. What a wasted opportunity that would be. I have a sneaking suspicion that the transition zone is the only real thing, and the bars are the illusions we dream up to avoid the void where the real change, the real growth occurs for us. Whether or not my hunch is true, it remains that the transition zones in our lives are incredibly rich places. They should be honored, even savored. Yes, with all of the pain and fear and feelings of being out of control that can, but not necessarily, accompany transitions, they are still the most alive, most growth-filled, passionate, expansive moments in our lives. So transformation of fear may have nothing to do with making fear go away, but rather giving ourselves permission to hang out in the transition between trapezes. Transforming the need to grab that new bar, any bar, is allowing ourselves to dwell in the only place where change really happens. It can be terrifying. It can also be enlightening in the true sense of the word. Hurtling through the void, we may just learn how to fly. Words cannot express how much I love this parable because there are so many times in our lives where that other trapeze comes flying in, right? Even within the context of our infertility journey. We're on the trapeze of trying to conceive and not having any success yet. Then the trapeze of infertility treatments come in and it's a terrifying leap. And then we spend that time in the void thinking that we've done something wrong, thinking that we're not in the right place. And then you get on the trapeze of fertility treatments and it goes a few different ways. Maybe you have success and then you jump into the next terrifying trapeze of motherhood or parenthood, or you don't have any success and you jump on the terrifying trapeze of childless not by choice, surrogacy, adoption. These are all terrifying endeavors. Let's not sugarcoat it. Life is a series of these and our journey is no different. I'm about to jump on a new trapeze and I'm terrified. I'm excited, I'm hopeful, I'm grateful, and I'm terrified. Our emotions are not monoliths. We can feel more than one emotion at a time. Cognitive dissonance is real, meaning we can hold opposing feelings and thoughts simultaneously. You might be taking a step out into something and feel terrified and excited. That's perfect. That is how it's supposed to be. We're supposed to have all of the feelings. We're supposed to only have a certain allotment of spoons. We're supposed to have a fork limit. There's nothing wrong with you. You're perfect and whole in all of your feelings, with or without your spoons, with the different shapes and size and varying fork limits, on the trapeze or in the void. You are perfect. Okay, my beautiful friends, that is what I have for you today. Have a wonderful week, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of IVF This.
If you like what you've heard, click subscribe and follow to make sure you don't miss an episode. And if you want to learn more, head over to www.ivfthiscoaching.com to learn how to work together.